Over simplify. 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 Welcome to the King Moolah TV podcast, y'all. Welcome. Ooh. All right, y'all. Now, see what we got going on here. Today's topic, it's about something I thought about, and I'm just like, it's very important to say, because I do think that there's a lot of messages out in social media, but sometimes the messaging are just too simple. Sometimes it just doesn't fit certain people's lifestyles. Sometimes it just doesn't fit certain the situations that people are in, and they're in it, and it's just a little bit too simple. And so topic is oversimplified messages, and it's what I want to go about it is these are general things that they post without context. So, but usually what I've seen, at least as far as social media, because this is pretty much what it is in social media. It can expand outside of social media, like if you go to a church or something like that and you hear these oversimplified messages. Yeah. But I'm gonna stick to social media because that's the main focal point that I see all the time. And that's exactly where I'm gonna pull from. And a lot of these oversimplified messages deal with relationships. And I don't think I have some readies, but I usually like run into these messages quite often. So I'm just going to check on my social media and pull them up. I'm going to save them, so I'm going to have them right there when I need them, so that, nothing just pops up randomly, or just like music or copyright music just comes up randomly. So I'm definitely going to do that. And then I'm gonna come back here. Okay. I'll start off with this one. No woman would have a toxic attitude if she was treated right. Simple. That's the entire one. I just left simple with that pause for some reason. No. That gives a bad message. That sends a bad message to women. That says they can be anything and whatever. If they're treated right. Because there are plenty of women. There are plenty of girls that are treated right and they still act toxic. I know this from firsthand experience, and I know this from seeing this secondhand as well. So seeing this in other relationships and seeing this in other situations, romantic situations, not good. This is definitely an oversimplified message. There's no real context to that. That is somebody projecting their feelings onto us on social media and trying to make it seem like, oh, only because if girls were treated right, that they wouldn't have any bad issues. There's plenty of times girls were treated right. Plenty of times. Even before they went for the bad boy. Even they went for the toxic guy. Y'all gotta be honest. And it could be the same thing for a guy too. They go for the bad bitch. The bad girl. They go for the bad girl. They go for the toxic girl. They go for the feisty girl. They go for feisty is okay. Crazy is what I'm saying. They go for the crazy girl because they think crazy girls are so something. I get it. I used to think like that too, but it's terrible. It is terrible when you actually have to deal with a crazy girl. I do not recommend at all. I do not recommend it. I think the biggest thing is people got to just define what they're talking about. These posts there's nothing wrong with them if they're like just at a respectable rate, but I used to see them a lot more often, and it's a lot. And see, when I'm looking for them and when I really want to talk about something, never at the thing that they're here for. So, okay, so I don't know. No, I do know. Let me keep going. Okay, this isn't particularly, well, it's something. Let me say, I overthink, I overlove, I overcare, I overtrust. And in return, I get overhurt. I mean, that's the context. But there are some oversimplified messages with context. And sometimes it just doesn't apply to other people. But something like this, the overthinking part is valid. Overloving is just overcaring and overtrusting, doing more than what you're being, it just comes down to you doing more than what's reciprocated. And since you do that, you need to check yourself. That's what we call a positive toxic trait. It's like it's a positive. It's one of those. I forgot what else they call it. They had it a different name. But yeah, a different name for that. But a positive toxic trait, like you just make it sound like like I overcare. I'm too nice. That's not something that really helps you address who you are. That means you're going to continue to be that way, or you're just going to shut yourself out. You got to address the real problem, and you got to name it a different way. If you're too trusting, just say that you reciprocate or you show affection, but you don't get any affection back. And that's what you need to address. That means you need to do something about that. It's not hard to recognize when someone is no longer for you. It's just hard to accept it. I don't know about that. I think it is. It could be both. Somebody could be blinded by love, that they're a lover person. Like I said, that they're too loving, to where they do not see, like they put love at the forefront, but they don't think rationally. But sometimes when you're so innocent that it's hard for you to love. No, not hard for you to love. What am I saying? It's easy for you to love people for who they are and try to see the good in them, but then you end up not understanding that they could be taking advantage of you, or that you're getting yourself into a toxic situation because you're so loving. And more than likely going to be forgiving as well, because that's usually the script that goes along with it. You're ruining your mental health for someone that's out there living their best life. Focus on you. I wouldn't say that. Again, this is a good one. This is a good example of oversimplified. That person is not everybody's living their best life who is ruining somebody else's life. Or because first and foremost, it's perspective. They probably don't even think they're ruining nobody's life. Or they do, and they really don't like themselves, but they would rather have somebody in the same boat. You know the quote, the classic quote, misery loves company? That's a thing right there. So focusing on you is a good thing, but however, the way that it was worded, talking about somebody out there living their best life, not always true. Actually, it's probably the opposite. But then again, it could be quite balanced. So we just, like I said, oversimplified messages that tell people that don't really, it's kind of hard for things to apply to everybody unless it's really, really broad. But even in some of these broad messages as well, now this isn't even about oversimplified messages. Oh wait, no, it is still about oversimplified messages, but it's more broad. About the broad ones, it still wouldn't be able to fit everybody. So I think people need to do what's best for themselves. If they don't need a relationship, okay, cool. If they do want a relationship, then they better work on themselves to make sure that they get into a healthy relationship. That's what they need, a healthy relationship. And the only way to do that is probably to go through it's not the only way, but it is going to give you a good amount of perspective if you actually pay attention to it, to understand that what isn't a healthy relationship, which is an unhealthy relationship, and that can help you move forward to actually getting a healthy relationship. But if you've gone through an unhealthy relationship, go heal, get that trauma out of you, and do some work, do some shadow work, do some work on yourself, spend some time alone, and be happy with being alone and be able to thrive alone, so that you can, if you still want to pursue a relationship, you can at that point, and then be able to attract healthy partners, and a healthy relationship. So yeah, there could be plenty more, but it's trying to scroll through all of them is not what I'm going to do. I just wanted to break it down a little bit and get people some perspective on how oversimplified messages do not apply to everyone. And, cannot apply to everyone. No one message can apply to everyone, but there is needs to be an understanding of, people should not just look to social media for advice. That's my underlying thing that I wanted to actually point out. That's my underlying point, is that people shouldn't be looking too deeply into social media for advice unless they really don't have any other options. And even then, please proceed with caution, because some of these people are miserable and want to see other people miserable. So, yeah, I think that's my biggest point there. So, be careful. Seriously. All right, y'all. Hydrate yourselves, drink some water, go outside, get some sunlight. If you don't got any sunlight, which kind of is crazy because it's springtime, that vitamin D, dietary supplements, and other nutrients are there for you. Just look them up. Go to your nearest health shop and get those, all right? And be kind to people. Like I said, people are going through a lot these days, and the world hasn't really stopped its craziness. So, just be kinder to people, and, it'll just help make your day better and somebody else's day better. All right? I'm King. It's the King Moolah TV podcast, y'all. I'm out of here. Doozy.